Summit, if he comes out to play, I guess he can get ahead in the lane. And that is
Fish
really
for hooks and grab themselves picks.
Bono is going to get to work here on this first streak, though.
Oh, Culling comes in here from Summit, but slightly misaligned. Yep, beach balls being thrown around here. Is Fate going to avoid Kuro for the moment, but there's the force of will. Sky Strike comes in, ulti goes down there from Fate, who is going to use the cleanse. Kuro needs to try and find some of these paddle stars to soften up the members of Sandbox. We've mentioned that KT do have a pretty powerful poke composition, but they don't want to just go all the way in onto Sandbox, who want to do exactly that. Under 2 does some work. Piercing arrow is fantastic as Fate has to be moved out, but the hook from the Blitzcrank is so strong. Denies the shield instantly, and Gorilla is just taken down. A very sad catfish. Then it'll just continue going like this, and then it'll be a dead Nexus. So I want to see what Sandbox actually have in store for trying to get a fight to actually work. Cloud Drake going to be available in 3 seconds time, and it looks like Sandbox want to fight for it. And Bono actually tanking a lot here as the culling flies in. This is the first fight that Summit's actually been a part of, but already he's down to half health. They have to be very scared of aiming and so on. They have a lot of extra damage to add over, and you can see already the Varus looking pretty hot. Chains of Corruption do go wide though. There's a Super Soaker. Gorilla does go golden. Dawning Shadow to keep the Tahm Kench alive. Bubble's going to snipe him there. The Piercing Darkness going to get that health bar back up, and the Piercing Arrow not going to be strange. But now we've got Tucson looking for a hook. Does find the Tahm Kench once again, but the culling going to be eaten mostly by that minion wave. Summit desperate to try and actually get some auto attacks here as Fate in a bit of trouble. Unleash Power just thrown out a little bit prematurely there onto Kuro, who's going to land yet another bubble, and there's the Shock Blast. This is what we were talking about. All of this poke is so dangerous onto Sandbox, and they're unable to actually force anything. It's Kuro.
Look at Kuro.
They're just fish in a barrel. Catfish in a barrel.
Yeah. Just simply picked up without much pressure.
Yeah.
From the side of Sandbox, and we're still 1 kill at 24 minutes.
And I mean, if... okay, On Fleek going to look for Kuro here. Red buff going to be burning down, but he misses the ulti. Dawning Shadow flies by, but Kuro is going to be all right. And it looks like On Fleek's just going to have this turned on him, aiming. Picks up the second kill of the game pretty comfortably, is now Tucson. He's going to get snared, but immediately QSS's that one away. Tries to run as there are exhausts traded on both sides. It takes them a while, but Sandbox get to their first kill. Root now going to get devoured. Teleport in to this turret here. As aiming, going to look for another piercing arrow. Flashes out, as now So On. Getting on top of Gorilla to the sky is going to be avoided. Gorilla's going to need to eat some of that gray health though as Summit flashes to get himself out of the way. Kuro with a flash picked up himself, but the Shock Blast not going to land. And after the portal jump, Kuro's unable to find his target, let alone win it, right? As KT, they're going to start off this Elder. They feel like they might be at a better position at this point in time with On Fleek's health bar. On Fleek still has to stick around, but now the fight might actually start towards the top side. Exhaust going to be used onto aiming here as the Elder Drake in amongst the mix. Fate's going to find himself a blue buff, but that's not going to be stopping any Elders.
I suppose at least it reset. That's about the only positive news I can say for Sandbox. And one way to engage if you have no engage in your comp is to try to surround them. And that's why I feel like Summit is actually doing a pretty good job, but he's all alone. I mean, he's the only one that's able to do anything.
I mean, he's trying, and we'll see whether On Fleek can actually make this a 50-50. Gonna have the ultimate, but gonna miss out on that Elder. Now we've got Cloud Soul, Elder Drake, we got a dead bear. The Lucian, I think, died somewhere in amongst the mix as Bono flashing on top of Root. He's gonna go down. This should be the teamfight ace if they can chase down Fate, and they definitely can. There's no mobility really on the Syndra and the Tahm Kench. That's the double kill, and that will most likely be the game. KT are just going to crash down these inhibitors. Sandbox are going to continue to have absolutely no options as the hook is going to miss from Tucson there. Does get taken down to his passive shield, but as you can see, there's just no real answer from Sandbox. Summit's going to be lit on fire, sent back to his fountain. We do have a pseudo-engage here as finally aiming's going to go down. Gorilla eats some gray health, Tucson very low. As KT are going to kite this one out. They do manage to take both Nexus turrets and 2 inhibitors. But it looks like Sandbox have staved them off for the minute. God, that shot blast would have been the death of the Syndra. Now it's 4 versus 5. As, okay, yeah, well, very much 4 versus 5, as someone's going to be able to lock down that kill. Summit does a fair bit of damage there with the culling, but it doesn't really matter. This inhibitor should go down.
Oh, Gorilla!
Oh, damn, they are just fishing for catfish. And what was that ultimate on fleek? Doesn't even really seem to matter here, as it's a double kill for Soan. Kuro throwing bubbles around, just having a good time as the bear is getting out of here. He doesn't want to be in amongst this game, but KT aren't going to let him. He's going to head towards the death chamber, 13-2. The Nexus is going to be taken down, and I think that was the biggest draft win that we've ever seen. Here in the LCK, KT steamrolls.
Yeah, you know, push out and squeeze out every ounce of potential power out of what
That was KT Roaster versus Sandbox Gaming. The start of today's analyst task today will be joined by Subin and Victory and Pon. And this is season with the translation. And first, let's take a look at their draft. It's a rematch after a week, so it's pretty obvious that both teams knew each other pretty well. We had a very vivid draft difference over here. KT had Varus, and all the laners had a blind pick, and Sandbox was able to take the blind picks. However, they weren't able to get the draft edge. When they were grouped up, they don't have a very strong initiation of team fights, so they got zoned out by the KT's poke power. As Pon mentioned, Sandbox was able to get the comfort counter pick into top and mid laners. However, they could not really connect that into a game lead in the jungle and macro. In result to that, they were having a very obvious 5v5 group up positioning in the mid and late game, but KT was able to utilize their edge with the poke damage. And the first kill was so important today, and we had that happening around the Herald. Watching it, the minion wave onto the bottom lane, Varus has a very strong priority in the early phase. So both of the support went back to base, and Varus also shoved in the wave and rotated to the Baron. Tompkins also casted his ultimate for the Herald try. However, KT was one step faster because they had all the information, so it was hard for Sandbox to push out of the Herald because they don't have much power ability in this kind of 4v5 skirmish. They got completely zoned out by the power level difference on the side of KT roster. Looking at the matchup in the top and mid lane, Sandbox should have gone for some of the ganks in the early phase of the game because their laners had the later pick. But Sandbox, they were just looking for a standard team fights for the mid and late game, which was not a very favoring situation for them. Sandbox couldn't contest for any Drakes, and then watch over here. It was an elder timing, but it was so dark around that for the vision of the red side. So Gorilla was first to walk forward to face check the vision around the elder Drake. He had no choice but to just walk straight into the enemy face because they had no vision at all. And Tusin actually had the double of Gorilla's vision score, which kind of shows some of the one-sided vision situation for Sandbox versus KT roster game. In summary, Sandbox had to utilize their red side opportunity, getting the counter picks into mid and top lane, and utilizing it with the jungler in the early phase. Pon thinks that Zoe won lane, and that was so critical for Sandbox because Syndra was the counter pick, the later pick into Zoe. Even the Fate has had some pop-off game in that pick, today was not the best day for him. Let's check out the player of the game on the side of KT Roaster. All 5 members were doing a great job, but aiming on Varus got his first POG of the split. Aiming the solo carry of KT Roaster finally got his first POG. We did not witness a lot of kills in this game, but it was quite obvious that aiming had a huge lead starting from the laning phase. Aiming never let the priority go away, and he also didn't die once. He also went for a very early tier build, which means that he is looking for a very consistent laning phase. Aiming picked up half of the POG votes, and we had some split votes over here, which indicates that all 5 members were doing a decent job. Especially, they were really controlled and calm around the Baron this time around, which reflects that KT is having a really nice macro decision as well. Now it's time to move on to game number 2, KT versus Sandbox.